Stocks drift lower after a strong open today. Utilities and financials see some gains, while energy and metals are the big drags. Mid-caps fare better.
HDFC Bank turns in a stronger than expected growth in deposits in Q4, powering the stock up. Even other lenders like RBL and AU Small Finance Bank turn in a good show.
The board of Vodafone Idea will meet on 6th of April to consider a preferential issue of equity or convertible securities to the promoters, kicking off the long-awaited fundraise. Investors will keenly watch what follows next.
And gold leaps past $2,300 per ounce as short covering powers the yellow metal up in the face of buying by central banks. Laggard silver too scales to a 26-month high.
Hello and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar. With me is Sonia Shenoy. So Sonia, it has been quite a ride for the market today, up and down, and at lunch hour, it is showing some signs of recovery. Let's take stock of Nifty 50, 22,470 odd levels at the moment, gaining just about 40 points and marginally in the green. When we talk about Sensex, it has gained 200 points at the moment. Bank Nifty is the one which is taking the lead, a brighter space in the overall market, 0.85% up in trade. And mid-caps are the ones which are trading on the flat line with a positive bias. Advance decline ratio in favor of the advances, and on my screen, ONGC, BPCL are some of the laggards in terms of the percentage draggers, while the big boy HDFC Bank, which is quite a heavyweight, is up 2.85% at the moment. Sonia.
Oh, absolutely. So, for the market overall, I think it's not a bad outcome at all. I mean, give and take everything, this market has been very resilient around that 22,500 mark. We, of course, have seen global cues be on and off, but tomorrow is a big day. You have the RBI policy and you have the US jobs data. So there are big events upon us, and the market will then decide the next course of action. But let's begin Business Lunch by focusing on the Indian markets. As I said, stellar run over the last 4 years. And this morning, when the Nifty crossed the milestone of 22,533, the Nifty has tripled from the COVID low of 7,511. Hormuz is here to decode the journey from the lows. Hormuz, as they say, be greedy when the market is fearful.
We are in a market where an up day is any other normal course of business, but a down day now is not termed as a trend reversal anymore or things going awry, but an opportunity to buy more. But little did we know that on the 24th of March 2020 that we'd be standing here 4 years later celebrating the Nifty scaling one new peak after another. Now, a day after the nation went into the lockdown to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nifty made a low of 7,511. Since then, the Nifty has tripled from those levels after it crossed 22,533 this morning. Now, of course, the broader markets have outperformed a lot more compared to the Nifty. The mid-cap and the small-cap indices are well over 300% during the same period, while the realty index is among the top sectoral performers with gains of over 400%. But the top sectoral gainer is none among your usual suspects, not auto, not IT, not FMCG. It is PSU banks. And the stellar run in state-run lenders has taken the PSU bank index up by 440% from its lows on the 24th of March. Now, what among the Nifty has moved the most since that day? The Adani Enterprises tops that chart. Then comes Tata Motors riding on the back of a stellar run in 2021, in 2023, and it's already up 30% this year as well. Now, then comes the metal names, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, and the infrastructure giant L&T, which is also well up over 400%. Now, on the flip side, there are some stocks that have barely moved, and HUL is a case in point, just 12% in 4 years. Now, as they say, the proof lies in the pudding, and what more proof do we need to show the kind of market that we are in, that TCS, after a 129% surge in 4 years, features among the worst performers on the Nifty. Now, within the broader markets, we have 17 names in the mid-cap index that have risen 1,000% or more since that 2020 low. And CG Power tops that charts here, followed by KPIT Tech, BSE, FACT, and others. And we can't not talk about Suzlon in a market like this that also features in this list, along with stocks like RVNL, Persistent Systems, Tata Elxsi, and APL Apollo. Now, if there are 17 mid-cap stocks, the small caps have done more better, with 24 names returning over 1,000% since March of 2020. And this list includes stocks like JBM Auto, Tata Tele, Titagarh, BLS International, along with stocks like Electra Green Tech, and featuring names like Apar Industries, Ramkrishna Forgings, Tejas Networks, and Tanla Platforms also finding a mention here. So there you have it, the Nifty 3x from its March 2020 lows, and we can only hope that there is a lot more to come going forward.
All right. Thanks so much, Hormaz, for such an interesting, detailed account on the markets. But today we are also celebrating big boy HDFC Bank's stupendous run. Take a look at that particular counter, almost 3% up in trade. And remember, in terms of contribution, it's contributing 70 points to Nifty 50. So if Nifty 50 is really in the green, it is only owing to that one stock, HDFC Bank, which is the top Nifty gainer after, remember, registering strong deposit growth in the fourth quarter. Abhishek Kothari is right here with all the details. Tell us, Abhishek.
Well, in a tight liquidity scenario, they have been able to grow their deposit base very strong on a sequential basis. The deposits are up 7.5% quarter on quarter. In incremental wise, it's up 1.66 lakh crore in a tight liquidity scenario when it was up 1.5 lakh crore when the liquidity was good in Q4 of FY23. Even on a sequential basis, the incremental deposit growth is 4 times of what incremental deposit flow they saw in Q3 FY24. CASA ratio has actually improved on a sequential basis. We have seen CASA being a tough spot for many bankers, but HDFC Bank has been able to improve its CASA ratio by about 45 to 50 basis points despite strong deposit growth. Retail deposits are up 6.9% sequentially. Advances growth are on weaker side at 1.6% sequentially. Domestic retail advances have grown by 3.7% sequentially. Commercial and rural banking have grown by 4.2% quarter on quarter. Now, other wholesale loans that have declined by 2.2% on a sequential basis, and that's impacted the overall advances growth this time around. CD ratio, that's dipped sharply to 105.4% when compared to 111.5% in the previous quarter. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Abhishek, for that. Well, moving on, Vodafone Idea is in focus. The board is meeting on Saturday, the 6th of April, to mull a fundraise from promoters. Rima has more details on what to expect from this one. Rima, over to you.
Thanks so much for that. So it's going to be a crucial board meet on the 6th of April. That's a Saturday, where the board will consider issuing equity or convertible securities amounting to 2,075 crore on a preferential basis to one or more promoter group entities. Currently, they have 2 promoter group entities, Aditya Birla Group and Vodafone PLC. This follows a board approval that they got in February to raise 20,000 crore rupees via equity-linked instruments, which then received a shareholders' nod on 3rd of April. Now, while this 2,000 crore plus of a promoter fundraise will be a step in the right direction because it will give external investors the confidence about the promoters' commitment to the business, the promoters' skin in the games, and it will help them go out and raise that external fundraise, even the bank raise. Remember, it doesn't come as a surprise because the promoters had committed to 2,000 crore of an equity infusion way back in August of 2023. So the promoters' equity, plan of infusing 2,000 crore was known. Now, moving on, the question is, why does the company need the money? Well, immediately, the company's cash flows are under control. The estimated liability over the next 12 months is seen at 4,000 crore rupees, which compares with the annual estimated cash flows of about 8,400 crore, according to Kotak's estimate. So immediately, the company doesn't need cash. But the company does need capital over the medium term. And this is for 2 key reasons. One, regulatory payouts once the AGR moratorium gets lifted in FY26, and then the company has to dole out big sums of money. We're talking about 28,000 crore in FY26 and nearly 41,000 crore rupees FY27 onwards once the moratorium gets lifted. And secondly, it needs growth capital to roll out their 5G. Its capex has been dwindling and lagging peers. In Q3, Vodafone Idea's capex stood at 330 crore, a paltry sum compared to Bharti Airtel's quarterly capex of 6,500 crore. And remember, peers like Bharti Jio have completed their 5G rollout, so Vodafone Idea needs to get started. But the question is that will this 20,000 crore of an overall fundraise be enough, or will it need some more? This fundraise is critical, but according to analysts, it may not be enough. The company will need to, effect very sharp tariff increases, that's for the industry, and maybe some relief from the government. Because out of its total debt of more than 2 lakh crore rupees, 2.15 lakh crore rupees, a bulk of it is owed to the government of India, 2.07 lakh crore rupees for spectrum and AGR dues. And therefore, there is one risk which the shareholders need to keep in mind, is that if the government decides to convert its debt into equity, the principle on the AGR moratorium, it could result in significant equity dilution. Back to you.
All right, Reema, thanks so much for getting us all those details. And Vodafone Idea stock, that particular stock, is down more than 2% in trade. And while we await all the details of the board meeting on this Saturday, must revisit the story we had broken earlier, that follow-on public offer, besides the promoter contribution, is what is likely to be rolled out. And it solves two purposes. It gives a higher base of investors to participate in fundraise, and also gives much more flexibility in terms of pricing this particular issuance. So keep that in mind. But we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. Here's something you must not miss out on CNBC-TV18. Well, CNBC-TV18 presents India Exchange, where market experts and industry stalwarts will collaborate in insightful discussions on India's economic path and the evolving dynamics of the Indian market. Mapping the macros with Citi India economist Samiran Chakravarti. Catch a jugalbandi between market veterans Manish Chokhani and Ramdev Agarwal. Return of the animal spirit within India Inc. A conversation with V. Vaidyanathan of IDFC First Bank, K.K. Mistry and Manish Kejriwal of Kedara Capital, and also Chasing Alpha with market experts like Nilesh Shah of Kotak, Prashant Khemka of Vito Capital, and Anish Tawakle of ICICI Pru Mutual Fund. Don't miss out on this. Tune into CNBC TV18 today evening, 5:30 p.m. onwards.
Well, as election fever in India rises, my colleague Abhimanyu Sharma met and spoke with actor Arun Govil, who is a BJP candidate from the Meerut Lok Sabha constituency, and asked him about his prospects for the elections and how he is preparing. Listen in to what they had to say.
I don't know about my prospects, but this kind of thing it was expected also. They have been giving me love and honor since the Ramayan days. And उसके बाद भी कि कई बार होता है कि जब हम इलेक्शन में खड़े हो जाते हैं तो वो प्यार और वो शब्द शायद कम हो जाता है कुछ, लेकिन इस बार ऐसा नहीं हुआ. It's too big now, and everybody can see it that they are full of enthusiasm now and they're full of love for me. They respect me so much. So for that matter, I mean, I can't predict prospects, but if you see the statistics here, if you see the visuals here, it's very good, very good.
You are not a career politician, but you were born in this city and you have lived in Mumbai. So what are your plans as far as proceeding with any developmental works would be concerned? How are you going to connect with people since you have not stayed here for...
I'm already connected with people. Through my emotion, through my love, through my respect. I'm already... That's not the problem at all. And we'll decide once the results comes and I'm there. Then we'll decide the strategy, how to help people, what should be the development. Because since last 10 years, what the kind of development which we are watching, it's huge. And in Meerut also, the development has been huge. So, but we'll try to do it more and more faster. That's it.
My final question to you, your portrayal of Lord Ram is remembered by generations. That's an iconic role, and that's of course being manifested in the support itself, which we have seen. Do you feel this wave is going to spread across the country post the inauguration of the Ram Temple? Do you feel this is going to impact and galvanize the electorate in favor of the BJP across India?
It will. It will, because we have been struggling so hard. We have sacrificed so much for this Ram Mandir, and we got it after 500 years of struggle. So that's a big thing. So why not?
All right, Arun Govil there, a candidate and contestant there. And Sonia, you will remember Ramayana while we were growing up and his role as Lord Rama. And that's a poll plank too. He's quite confident on the basis of that iconic role. All right, moving on then. Abhimanyu, our colleague, also spoke to the sitting Minister of State for Animal Husbandry, Dairy as well as Fisheries, Sanjeev Balyan, who is, remember, contesting from Muzaffarnagar constituency. And he caught up with him to understand the plans for the district and the poll plank and agenda. Let's listen in.
91 नए प्रोजेक्ट का एमओयू साइन हुआ है मेरे रजिस्ट्री के लिए। 8,500 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट है। एक साल के अंदर 10,000 युवाओं को रोजगार मिलेगा। मेरे जनपद के 10,000 युवाओं को रोजगार एक साथ। मेरे अगले 5 साल एक ही लक्ष्य है, मेरे जनपद के युवा को जनपद में रोजगार मिले। इतनी इंडस्ट्री लेकर नहीं, माहौल ठीक हो गया, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बन गया। फ्रेट कॉरिडोर मेरे यहाँ से गुजर रहा है, कलकत्ता भी माल जाएगा, मुंबई भी माल जाएगा। 24 घंटे बिजली है, बहुत अच्छा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर है, बहुत शानदार नेशनल हाईवे है, बहुत शानदार रेल नेटवर्क है और फ्रेट कॉरिडोर है। अब इंडस्ट्री लेकर आनी है, युवाओं को रोजगार देना। अगले 5 साल का रोड मैप यही मेरा है।
सर, आप गांव में भी रहे हुए हैं, शहर में भी रहे हुए हैं, दोनों इलाकों की समस्याओं से आप वाकिफ़ हैं। आप उसके अलावा जो मंत्रालय आप देखते हैं केंद्रीय सरकार में, वो एनिमल हस्बेंड्री, डेयरी से संबंधित है, क्योंकि कई जगह स्ट्रे कैटल की समस्या देखी जाती थी, जिससे या तो खेतों में कोई डैमेज हो जाता था या शहरों में स्ट्रे एनिमल्स के कारण लोगों को पर हमला होता था। उस पर किस तरीके का काम देखा जा सकता है आपके आने वाले टर्म में?
मैंने एक पायलट प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया है, काऊ सेंचुरी बनाई है। आप जाके देखना, आप ही ना दिखाओ, आपने इतनी अच्छी काऊ सेंचुरी नहीं देखी होगी। 5,000 गौवंश एक साथ रह सकता है, 4,000 पहुंच चुके, थोड़े से रह रहे हैं, 5,000 अगले 10 दिन में पहुंच जाएंगे। और जनता के सहयोग से चला रहा हूँ उसको, सरकार ने बनाई है। पीपीपी मोड पे एक सोसाइटी उसको रन करती है। आप देखना, गौवंश की आप अपने घर में भी इतनी सेवा नहीं करते जितनी वहाँ होती है। ये पायलट प्रोजेक्ट है, मैं चाहता हूँ ये रेप्लिकेट हो, हर सांसद अपने लोकसभा क्षेत्र में से खोले, जनता के सहयोग सरकार बनाए और जनता के सहयोग से चले। वही समस्या का समाधान है। तो वो चुनाव के बाद अभी अपने क्षेत्र में किया, दूसरे क्षेत्रों में करेंगे।
सर, मेरा आखिरी सवाल आपसे, डेयरी भी आपके मंत्रालय के अंतर्गत आता है। वेस्टर्न यूपी और हरियाणा ये एरिया है जहां डेयरी का उत्पाद काफ़ी ज़्यादा होता रहा है ट्रेडिशनली भी। किस तरीके के आप मेजर्स देख रहे हैं अपने अगले टर्म में लाने के लिए, ताकि डेयरी केवल इंडिया में नहीं एक्सपोर्ट्स में भी बढ़ोतरी देखे? क्योंकि इंडिया के मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स फ़िलहाल दुनिया भर में जाने जाते हैं, दुनिया भर में उनका बोलबाला है। और दूसरी तरफ ये भी है कि एक तरफ लोग इम्पोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट्स खाते हैं, दूसरी तरफ ये देखा जा रहा है कि भारत के प्रोडक्ट्स का एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ाया जा सके।
देखिए, हमने विशेष रूप से उत्तर प्रदेश में नई मिल्क कोऑपरेटिव की शुरुआत की है। जहां आप खड़े हैं, हरित प्रदेश मिल्क कोऑपरेटिव है। हमने 55 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में नई कोऑपरेटिव का गठन किया उत्तर प्रदेश में, इसी बात को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए। ये कोऑपरेटिव गुजरात के मूल मॉडल पर काम करेंगे, एक सेंट्रलाइज सिस्टम होगा। तो ये जो अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर था, इसको ऑर्गेनाइज करने का प्रयास किया। साथ के साथ ये कोऑपरेटिव अपने जो पशुपालक हैं उनका ट्रीटमेंट का प्रयास करेंगे। हर ब्लॉक में एक एम्बुलेंस आ चुकी है, वेटरनरी एम्बुलेंस। अब किसान एक फ़ोन नंबर दबाएगा और डॉक्टर एम्बुलेंस लेके उसके घर पे होगा। इतने क्रांतिकारी परिवर्तन आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हुए। और अगला जो भी समय होगा, चूँकि मैं इसी फील्ड से हूँ, वेटरनेरियन हूँ, तो बेहतर समझता हूँ और अच्छे प्रयास करेंगे।
All right, well, that's all the updates as far as the election is concerned. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll get you more news and updates. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch. Let's focus on the Fed now. And the timing of the potential interest rate cuts in the US remains uncertain. And speaking at a session at Stanford University, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that it will take a while for the policymakers to really evaluate the current state of inflation and then decide on the rate cuts. Remember, something on the radar of global markets, including us. Listen in.
Recent readings on both job gains and inflation have come in higher than expected. The economy added in an average of 265,000 jobs per month in the 3 years through February, a faster pace than we have seen since last June. On inflation, it is too soon to say whether the recent readings represent more than just a bump. We do not expect that it will be appropriate to lower our policy rate until we have greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down toward 2%. Given the strength of the economy and progress on inflation so far, we have time to let the incoming data guide our decisions on policy. If the economy evolves broadly as we expect, most FOMC participants see it as likely to be appropriate to begin lowering the policy rate at some point this year.
All right, that's the word coming in on what to expect. But let's also listen in to Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic, who spoke on what he expects for the rate cuts.
I think it'll be appropriate for us to start moving down at the end of this year, the fourth quarter, and we'll just have to see whether the data come on. Like, my outlook right now is that inflation is really just going to drop incrementally through the course of 2024, and that incremental progress will continue into 2025, and we won't get to our 2% target till sometime in early 2026. So with that outlook, I think that we have time to be patient, and we can just watch the economy and see if that's how things actually play out.
All right, back home, moving on to the Amazon-backed The Good Glam Group. That has joined hands with tennis superstar Serena Williams under a joint venture partnership to launch a beauty brand in the US, creating a global beauty brand from India. Now, speaking exclusively to CNBC-TV18, the founder of the company, Darpan Sanghvi, spoke to us about the company's India strategy, the plans to go public, and much more. Listen into a conversation based on this partnership.
Give me a sense of where things currently stand as we start FY25. We don't have your FY24 numbers available just yet, but what was the year that just closed looking like, and what does the year ahead look like, more importantly, and how ready and confident do you feel about IPOing in 2025?
Well, we keep our fingers crossed. I think our target internally is to IPO in Diwali 2025. When I look at that journey, when we, hopefully, touch wood, get there, for us, will hopefully be the first beauty company or the first consumer company with a global brand in its portfolio on the Indian Stock Exchange. Will be the first, again, consumer company that will have a mix of a developing, super fast-growing geography like India and a highly developed, mature geography like the US, but which provides you with a much higher margin profile. Because I'm selling products in the US for $30 versus I'm selling products in India for 300 rupees because they're very different markets here, right? If you look at FY21 to FY23, we grew at about 250% CAGR, 244% CAGR is what we grew between FY21 to 23. FY24, we focused on cost cutting to become profitable in FY25. So you asked me, what is it that we're looking forward to in FY25 is ensuring that at a group level, we are profitable in FY25. We made a lot of investments over the last 2-3 years. First, it was for the inorganic acquisitions that we did in 2021. Then it was for the international foray, which now everybody knows of, but it was under wraps for the last 3 years. No one knew about what was happening in the US. And so FY25 now is for all of these bets to make sure they're delivering profits, which is when then we can go successfully on the public markets as a profitable, predictable company with hopefully the unparalleled growth rates. I mean, think of it, right? Our TAM becomes unlimited.
Let's just talk about India, because that continues to be largely the bread and butter as far as the Good Glam Group is concerned. What's the 18 million, the transacting customer base for you? What do you believe that could potentially be in the next few years? What are you targeting? What are you aiming for? How much have you been able to bring down burn by in the quest for profitability?
So 18 million transacted customers. We're currently adding about 5 to 6 million new transacted customers every year, right? And so if I take this over the next 3 to 5 years, our transacted customer base should be somewhere around 40 million transacted customers, which makes it, well, even today, we have the highest, by far the highest transacted customer base for any brand. You're absolutely right. We are consolidating. If you see, we made 4 brand acquisitions in 2021. We haven't acquired any other brand in the last 2 years. We've only been busy growing them and then making them profitable. You asked me, how has profitability improved? So FY24, For the first time, we became our company. In FY23, we were CM2 negative. In FY24, we became CM2 positive. In FY25, we will become EBITDA positive. And that's the clear focus.
Okay, big strides by the Good Glam Group, but that's all the time we have on Business Lunch. Mid-Cap Radar comes up next. Stay tuned.